You didn't stumble here. You were led. I want you to pause right now and feel the weight of that. Take one deep breath, then another. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of the day slide to the edges. We move through life so fast that meaning has to shout to get our attention, but some truths only arrive as a whisper. This is one of them. You are standing at a precise intersection of time and place, like a pin on a map that's been waiting for your arrival. If you felt scattered, let yourself gather. If you felt overlooked, let yourself be seen by the one who sees. I'm not asking you to force anything, prove anything, or fix anything. I'm asking you to be fully here with a quiet, steady presence. Because when your spirit is present, the message lands where it was always meant to, deep within. Open hands, open heart. There's a space inside you that only opens when you listen without trying to control the outcome. Picture your inner life as a room, windows cracked, fresh air moving in, curtains lifting. That's what happens when you soften your grip and allow what's been prepared for you to come forward. Gifts don't push, they wait for permission. And permission sounds like this: I'm willing. Not perfectly ready, not completely certain, just willing. Consider how many times you've delayed peace because you needed more proof. But faith isn't a courtroom. It's a doorway. Your yes turns the handle. If you sense a gentle pull on the inside, don't dismiss it. You are being invited, not coerced. Let your heart say, show me, and mean it. When you do, what's been set aside for you can finally take its rightful place in your day and in your story. What your hands remember. Look at your hands for a moment. Think about everything they've carried. Boxes and burdens, dreams and quiet griefs. These hands have worked, reached, wiped tears you didn't want anyone to see, held on when letting go seemed easier. They tell the truth about you. Not the world's version, the one that dimmed your light, called you too much or not enough. I want you to remember who you were before you learned to apologize for your brightness. There is a flame in you that wasn't lit by applause and won't be put out by criticism. Sometimes life smudges the glass and we forget it's still burning. But in this moment, let the soot clear. You are not random. You are not average. Your worth didn't rust. It only waited for air. And now, as you breathe, it brightens, just enough to show you the next step. Born and sent. Your birth wasn't just an arrival, it was an assignment. You weren't dropped here to wander until something sticks. You were sent on purpose, carrying a thread that connects your life to a larger tapestry. Some assignments stay hidden until the season is right. Seeds do the same, buried, quiet, misunderstood, until they aren't. Maybe you've resented the soil. Maybe you've mistaken stillness for stagnation. But the ground wasn't your grave. It was your greenhouse. What if the very delay you've despised has been the timing that will protect you? What if the doors that didn't open were never your doors? Listen, you have a distinct work to do, one that won't require you to become someone else. It will require you to become more fully yourself. When you honor that difference, you stop chasing every invitation and start answering the one that has your name on it. The holy pull of more. Lately you've felt it, the quiet tug towards something larger than your current routines. Not anxiety. Awakening. You think differently than the room you're in. You notice what others overlook. For years you've tried to sand down your edges to blend in, but those edges were training tools, shaping your discernment. The discomfort of not fitting is not a flaw, it's a clue. It points to a path you can't see all at once, but you can feel under your feet. Consider the times your instincts were right before the facts arrived. Consider how often your questions open doors logic couldn't find. That isn't random intuition, it's refined sensitivity. You weren't built to echo the loudest voice. You were built to hear the quietest truth. Let that reassure you. The pull you feel isn't a detour. It's your direction finally revealing itself. Carriers of essence. Where you go, insight follows. Your presence clarifies rooms the way dawn clarifies a shoreline. Quietly, inevitably. You don't need a title to carry light. You need alignment. When you are aligned, courage doesn't roar, it roots. Strength becomes more than stamina. It becomes staying power. And the same spirit that steadied people before you is active in you now. Think of the times you endured what should have unraveled you. Think of the wisdom you gained you couldn't have learned any other way. That's not just survival, that's stewardship. You are entrusted with perspective, and perspective is medicine in a world short on meaning. Don't minimize it. Don't apologize for it. Let your life translate understanding into ordinary moments. The way you answer an email, the way you speak in conflict, the way you pause before you judge. That's how light travels, person to person, breath to breath. The threshold season. You're standing at a doorway, and the knob just turned. Clarity is gathering. Opportunities that match your design, not just your desire, are beginning to surface. The long winter of delay is thawing, and what you hid in prayer has reached its appointed hour. This isn't hype, it's alignment. The test won't be whether chances appear, but whether you choose the ones that bring peace instead of pressure. Ask better questions. Does this require me to become small? Does it trade my integrity for speed? Will it stretch me without snapping me? You'll know you're choosing well when your inner world grows calm even if the outer world grows busy. Remember, arrival isn't noise, it's knowing. And knowing has a texture, soft, steady, sure. Step through the doorway slowly with awareness. You don't need to sprint. You only need to keep moving in the right direction, reading the signs. From here on, pay attention to the subtle, the unexpected kindness, the timing that makes no sense on paper but fits your soul like a key. The shift in a conversation that opens a path you didn't even know to ask for. Freedom isn't far, it's nearer than your doubt. Learn to read your life the way a sailor reads wind on water, tiny ripples that predict a change in course. If restlessness rises without peace, pause. If a quiet certainty settles beneath your ribs, proceed. Not every coincidence is random, and not every obstacle is an enemy. Some are guardrails. You are in a finishing phase where loose threads tie and long questions meet clean answers. This is not about being special, it's about being faithful. Hold your attention like a compass. Follow what rings true. The next right step will not shout. It will resonate. Owning your difference, meeting resistance. If you've ever felt misunderstood, it's not because you were wrong. It's because you could see beyond the surface while others were still staring at the gloss. A calling with weight will always attract opinions. That's the cost of long vision in a short-sighted room. When you stop shrinking to fit, resistance often gets loud, not because you're off track, but because your clarity threatens confusion. Don't let that surprise you. Steel is proven by friction. The strength awakening in you isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Ask yourself, will I dim to earn approval or stand to serve the truth I know? You're not here to echo noise, you're here to name what matters. Let the pushback refine your patience, not your purpose. Keep your heart soft and your spine strong. There's power in being peacefully resolute, firm in conviction, gentle in tone, impossible to move off what you've been shown. End the hesitation, rise now. There comes a moment when delay stops being wisdom and starts being fear dressed as caution. This is that line. You've gathered enough evidence to trust what's inside you. The questions that used to keep you silent have served their purpose. They don't get to lead anymore. You were set in this era for a reason. Your presence changes the atmosphere, not because you're loud, but because you're clear. Let your yes be clean. Retire the endless rehearsals, the contingency plans that bury your courage under spreadsheets. Choose a simple practice. Act on the inner peace. Pause on the inner pressure. Then move. You don't need an audience to begin or a guarantee to belong. Start by doing the next faithful thing in front of you. Momentum favors the brave, and bravery here is quiet obedience, one step, then another, until the road that felt theoretical turns into ground underfoot. Chosen for this hour, you are not defined by labels others tape to you in their own uncertainty. Identity doesn't trickle down from public opinion. It rises from what was planted within you. Some truths don't fit on a resume. They land in the spirit first, and only later translate into plans, partnerships, or platforms. That order matters. Let inward witness come before outward work. How will you know? Truth that's yours settles you even while it stretches you. It corrects without shaming, invites without coercing, clarifies without performing. When you live from that center, you stop negotiating your value in rooms that can't afford you. You carry a quiet authority, the kind that makes people lean in without knowing why. Receive this. You are not late, you are not less, and you are not lost. You are precisely placed, deeply known, and fully capable of walking out what you've already been given. The sacred outsider and inner sensitivity. That faint sense of not entirely belonging has a name: consecration. You were wired for purpose, not for popularity. When the crowd's rhythm feels a half beat off, it's because your life is tuned to a different drum, one that values meaning over momentum. Treat your sensitivity as a stewardship, not a flaw. You notice undercurrents. You feel the temperature in a room shift before anyone names it. That's not too much, that's advance warning. Use it well. Pause before you promise. Listen before you lead. Ask better questions than "Is this impressive?" Try, "Is this aligned?" Does this cultivate peace? Who will I become if I say yes? Your path won't be average because your assignment isn't. Make peace with being distinct. The goal is not to be separate for ego's sake, but set apart for love's sake, so that what flows through you heals what's fractured around you. Heightened awareness, opening doors. Over the next few days, pay attention to the small things, a phrase that repeats, a door that opens with minimal effort, a conversation that leaves you lighter instead of drained. These are not random. Inspiration may arrive as a gentle nudge, a sudden certainty, even the kind of dream you wake from knowing rather than remembering. Don't chase fireworks, notice candles. Write down impressions before the day washes them away. Treat your life like a field notebook. Time, place, feeling, next step. Ask for confirmation in ways that guard your peace, not feed your panic. The guidance you need won't argue with you. It will agree with the deepest part of you. Opportunities that are yours will not demand you abandon your integrity to enter. Walk through the doors that recognize you. When timing and truth shake hands, you won't have to force the handle. It will turn. Stillness that hears. Noise makes us reactive. Stillness makes us precise. Create room in your day where no one else gets a vote. 15 unhurried minutes to breathe, review, and listen. Cluttered spaces breed cluttered choices. So clear a corner, clear a note on your phone, clear the next hour's expectations. Then ask simple, surgical questions. What is mine to carry? What is not? What one action would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Sit long enough to tell the difference between adrenaline and assurance. The answers that shape a life rarely arrive in caps lock. They arrive in contours. If a thought brings pressure, interrogate it. If it brings clean responsibility, accept it. You are not trying to control outcomes. you are choosing alignment. Do this consistently, and you'll notice a quiet through line, a way forward that doesn't shout but does not stutter either. Follow that thread. It's trustworthy. Freedom within reach, life rearranged. Freedom is often less about breaking chains and more about laying down obligations that were never yours. When you embrace the truth of who you are, circumstances resort themselves. Some projects release you. Some relationships redefine. Space appears where strain used to live. Don't mislabel this as loss. It's pruning, painful to the branch, kind to the fruit. Ask, if I stopped striving here, what would grace do? Then cooperate with that answer. Let what's misaligned fall away, so what's appointed can arrive. You don't have to pursue everything you're capable of. You only need to steward what you're called to. Trade the rush for rhythm. Trade proving for presence. Notice how peace returns when you stop auditioning for a role you never wanted. Freedom isn't far off on the horizon. It's the room you make inside when you stop carrying what keeps you from breathing. Healing by becoming. Healing isn't a finish line you cross. It's a way of walking where your past no longer scripts your next sentence. As you live more honestly, the static quiets, clarity comes in, old griefs loosen their grip, and the fractured pieces begin to fit. Wholeness isn't perfection. It's integrity, thought, word, and action facing the same direction. Start small. Speak kindly to the part of you that survived, not just the part that performs. Choose practices that reinforce who you're becoming. Rest as a discipline, boundaries as care, truth as hospitality to your own soul. Then watch the spillover. Relationships stabilize, work sharpens, decisions simplify. When you align with how you were made, life echoes that alignment back to you. Not every storm stops, but you stop handing it the wheel. This is what strength looks like now. A quiet, steady life that keeps choosing what heals. When the barriers give way, there comes a day when the fog you kept fighting simply lifts. Not because you pushed harder, but because you stopped arguing with who you are. The hesitation slides off like a jacket 2 sizes too small. Suddenly what felt out of reach becomes legible. Names, numbers, ideas aligning with a click. Let yourself be surprised by good news arriving unannounced. The email you didn't chase, the introduction you didn't engineer, the open door no one can take credit for. This is not luck, it's ripe in time. Refuse the reflex to brace for loss when blessing knocks. Allow abundance without apology. If your first instinct is to ask, do I deserve this? Try a better question. Can I steward this? Receive with gratitude, organize with wisdom, share with joy. This is a season of fullness, not frenzy, permission to live wide open, unclenched, and ready for more than enough. Acting with inner certainty. Boldness isn't noise, it's a clean yes. Let your life speak plainly. Say the thing you keep editing in your head. Send the message you've drafted 5 times. Publish the paragraph that scares you because it tells the truth. You are not waiting for perfect, just alignment. Excellence belongs to movement, not to stalling. When you sense the gentle nudge, respond before the echo of doubt returns. Channel your energy into the work itself, not into rehearsing everyone's reaction to it. Your gifts were not built to gather dust in a careful corner. They are instruments meant to be played, tuned by use, strengthened by service. If you stumble, call it feedback and keep going. Courage compounds. One honest step creates space for another until the path you feared becomes familiar ground. Walk forward with a steady spine and a soft heart. Leave no sentence of your calling unfinished. This is your sign to rise. If you've been asking for a sign, consider the clarity settling in your chest right now. Consider the way the same message keeps circling back through strangers, books, and quiet thoughts at red lights. You already know, not moving will cost more than moving. Fear calls itself prudence to keep you polite and still. Purpose calls you by name and expects a response. Stand up inside first. Speak to the part of you that hid because it was safer and say, "We're going now." You don't have to roar. You only have to refuse to retreat. Expect resistance. It shows you where the thresholds are. Expect grace too. It shows you you're not crossing alone. Choose the next brave action within reach. Then take it before you overthink it. Heaven's confidence in you is not theoretical. It's personal. This summons isn't casual, it's covenant. Rise and let the rising become your answer. The choice that shapes tomorrow. Every future is built from a present tense verb. Decide, begin, continue. Today's fidelity writes tomorrow's freedom. If you wait for certainty to become perfect, you'll still be waiting when the season passes. Say the words out loud. I am ready. I am moving forward. Notice how your body adjusts, jaw unclenching, breath dropping lower, mind clearing a lane. Give your intention a container, a single action that proves you meant what you said. Make the call, set the boundary, block the time. Your life will meet your decision with momentum. When doubt returns, don't negotiate, reference your choice. Anchor it in practice until it becomes identity. Remember, direction, not drama, changes outcomes. When you align thought, word, and step, scattered power gathers itself. Keep your commitments simple and sacred. You're not gambling, you're planting. And seeds sown in conviction do not forget how to become a harvest. Train for weight, ready for responsibility. The heaviness you carried wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You learned to endure what would have broken the earlier version of you. You learned the difference between performance and purpose, between popularity and impact. That curriculum wasn't on a syllabus. It was written into ordinary days, long nights, and the quiet work nobody applauded. Now the assignment matches your capacity. Don't minimize what cost you so much to learn. Let experience become service, wisdom that steadies rooms, calm that regulates teams, courage that refuses shortcuts. When new weight arrives, lift with what you've built. Rhythm over rush, boundaries over burnout, prayer over panic. You are not carrying this alone. You are carrying it with. Share the load, share the credit, share the learning. You were shaped to hold what matters without crushing what's fragile. That's leadership. Strength that protects, clarity that guides, humility that keeps the door open. Ancient memory, present influence. Sometimes your soul feels older than your timeline, as if you're remembering more than you're discovering. Treat that awareness with reverence. You carry a lineage of endurance and a quiet authority that doesn't need to announce itself. When you speak from that place, people don't just hear your words, they feel their shoulders drop. Rooms recalibrate. Conversation becomes kinder. You didn't manufacture that, you steward it. Use your voice to create oxygen, not opinion. Ask questions that unlock people rather than corner them. Learn the names of what you sense, truth, manipulation, grief, hope, so you can bless what's real and gently name what isn't. Your presence is not neutral, is formative. Enter spaces as a thermostat, not a thermometer, setting climate rather than reporting temperature. The strength in you is ancient and tender. Let it move through you without hurry. Being faithful to it is how you honor where you came from. The light within, the sensing life. The light in you isn't decorative, it's directive. When it stirs, don't smother it with second guessing. Sensitivity is not fragility, it's instrumentation. You read the room before the agenda starts. You notice the shift in tone before conflict finds language. That is spiritual intelligence, seeing the contour behind the curtain. Trust it, test it, then act on it. Keep short accounts with your soul. Sleep, hydrate, pray, right? So that what you sense stays clear rather than cloudy. Don't let anyone shame you out of your antennae. They are how you catch the early winds of change and steer accordingly. Use this gift for building, not blasting, to warn without scaring, to guide without controlling, to encourage without flattery. When you honor your inner light, it does what light always does, reveals what's true, warms what's cold, and points the way home for more than just you. Excellence through discipline, not drama. Greatness rarely looks like fireworks, it looks like form. Trials trained you to keep your form when pressure spikes. That's victory. Not a single triumphant moment, but a daily posture. Shoulders back, gaze steady, steps honest. Translate hard lessons into holy habits. Begin your day with a brief audit. What matters most? What must wait? Where is my peace? Then move your feet in that order. Remember the strength already installed in you. You've lifted heavier than this. You've navigated rougher water with less light. Let that history quiet the panic. Excellence is choosing what aligns again and again, especially when no one's cheering. It's cleaning the inner room so your outer work carries integrity. When setbacks come, and they will, call them teachers. Extract the lesson, leave the shame, and keep your rhythm. You're not chasing a moment. You're becoming a person whose consistency makes moments inevitable. The purpose of the pause, the precision of timing. What looked like being benched was a blessing in camouflage. The pause was not rejection, it was calibration. You weren't ready then because the assignment wasn't shaped yet, and early access would have asked more from you than it gave back. Think of a bridge under construction, beautiful plans, wrong moment to drive across. Timing isn't a superstition, it's structural integrity. In the quiet, your motives got sifted, your endurance lengthened, your aim refined. The doors that stayed shut were not insults, they were fences around a garden that wasn't in season. Now the soil is warm. You can feel it under your feet, the subtle hum that says, go now, and you won't have to force what wants to unfold. Trust that the same hand that held you back is the hand releasing you forward. You are not late. You are right on time for what can finally hold your weight. The gift of stillness, discernment, and durable trust. Stillness didn't make you passive, it made you precise. In the hush, you relearned how to hear, separating signal from static, conviction from adrenaline, guidance from guilt. You discovered that peace speaks softly but never stutters, and that the clearest answers arrive dressed as simplicity. Treat stillness as a daily practice, not an emergency exit. 10 unhurried minutes to ask, what is mine today, and what belongs to tomorrow, or to no one at all? Trust became muscle, not mood. You stopped needing constant confirmation because you could finally recognize the tone of truth. And now, as you're sent, every capacity you carry plugs into a larger design. Nothing extra, nothing missing. Stillness taught you the art of holy restraint, not saying yes to relieve tension, not saying no to dodge growth. This is durable trust, tested, tempered, transferable. It will hold when the calendar crowds and the stakes rise. Live hold, touch hearts. When you stop performing and start living from your center, things change, first inside, then around you. People feel it. Rooms soften. Conversations go on as sooner. Even your mistakes become compost, not condemnation, fuel for wisdom that feeds others. Your task isn't to impress, it's to imprint. Show up with a self that matches in private and public, and you'll do more good than 1,000 opinions shouted from a distance. Ask better questions. What does love require here? What truth sets us free, not just right? Your presence can be permission for someone to exhale. That's not small. That's sacred. And yes, light draws both moths and mirrors. Some will warm to it. Others will reflect their discomfort back at you. Don't recoil. Let kindness be your posture and clarity your boundary. You're not here to be adored. You're here to be useful. Hearts remember how you made them feel safe enough to change. Meaning and loss, warning in disguise. Not one tear was wasted. Loss rearranged your map, so purpose could find a clearer route. Yet with new clarity comes a caution. Traps often arrive dressed like answers. An easy yes, a shiny platform, a fast fix that flatters your hunger but starves your soul. Learn the difference between provision and bait. Provision expands your peace. Bait inflates your pressure. Provision honors boundaries. Bait demands urgency. If an offer asks you to mute your discernment to keep it, it isn't for you. Step back without apology. Your future doesn't need counterfeit scaffolding. Remember the times pain taught you to spot the fine print, how flattery hid control, how comfort disguised compromise. Keep that education close. Loss didn't make you cynical, it made you accurate. Guard your momentum with wisdom. Walk away early from what would cost you yourself late. Protection is also a blessing, just quieter than the ones we post. Counterfeits, camouflage, and the wise pause. Deception seldom announces itself. It imitates the very thing you prayed for. That mentor who demands access without accountability. That opportunity that requires speed but cannot survive scrutiny. That relationship that loves your potential more than your person. Respect your early alarms. Restlessness without peace is a red flag, not a green light. You're not obligated to outrun your discernment to keep up with someone else's timeline. Press pause and let truth catch up. Ask, where does this lead in 12 months? Who do I become if I say yes? What grows if I say no? Seek counsel from voices that prize your wholeness over your headlines. Light reveals motives at its own pace. You don't need to force disclosures or manufacture proof. In time, reality shows. Until then, choose clean edges, clear terms, clear boundaries, clear exits. Wisdom wastes nothing, not even the nearly right that taught you to wait. Peace is the signature, hurry is the scam. The sacred rarely shouts, and it never shoves. If urgency is the salesperson, don't buy. Real guidance arrives with oxygen. You can breathe while you decide. Counterfeits insist, now or never, because they fear your clarity. Let peace be your passport stamp. If it's from God, it won't demand you abandon yourself to enter. Practice a simple rubric. Pressure pause, peace proceed. Watch how this saves you from expensive detours. Remember times you hurried and paid in regret. Let that memory tithe toward patience. Patience isn't inactivity, it's intelligent pacing. It keeps your yes from becoming a life you have to recover from. When you feel the internal scramble, step outside, drink water, put your feet on the earth, and ask, is this alignment or adrenaline? If it's alignment, your insides will settle even if the calendar doesn't. Trust that signature. Peace doesn't argue. It abides and invites you to do the same. Testing voices, trusting the quiet. Not every spiritual sounding sentence is sacred. Some advice is a mirror angle to someone else's fear. Test the voices. Does this counsel deepen freedom and responsibility, or does it breed dependency and drama? Does it clarify your next faithful step, or does it cloud your center with borrowed urgency? Choose mentors who ask about your soul, not just your strategy. Choose communities that celebrate integrity over image. And when the noise swells, return to the witness within, the steady knowing you built in stillness. The real will withstand questions. The false will require constant convincing. If a path claims to be the only way, it's probably not yours. Truth does not need theatrics to be true. It simply keeps showing up, calm and consistent, until you can't miss it. Let your discernment set the tempo. The right doors won't punish you for knocking twice. They'll open wider because you honored what's true. Guard your energy, honor the slow door. Your resources are sacred. Time, attention, money, story. Not every open door deserves them. Guard your yes like a seed bank, given strategically, not scattered by flattery or fear. Some closures are kindness in advance. Accept them. A divinely placed, not yet, protects you from expensive yokes and crowded calendars that dilute your call. Practice resource rules. Invest where reciprocity is possible, where clarity is written, where character holds. Keep margin for the unexpected good, the invitation you couldn't have planned but instantly recognize. And when doors don't move, resist prying them open with apology or over-explanation. Slow doors are often strong doors. They bear the weight of your future without warping. Stand easy in the hallway. Tend your craft. Tend your health. Tend your friendships. The life you're building can afford patience. What is truly yours will arrive right-sized, right-timed, and right-aligned, needing your presence, not your panic. When the battlefield looks like friendship, not every conflict arrives as a blow. Many arrive as a tone. Half-truths that sound reasonable because they borrow your language, but not your heart. Familiar voices repeating your ideas with the soul removed. Invitations that celebrate proximity more than purpose. This is why your discernment must travel with you into every room. Ask quietly, does this draw me toward clarity, or does it siphon it? Some people come close to learn. Some come close to lean. A few come close to lift. You'll know the difference by what remains after they leave. Peace or static, steadiness or scramble. If your boundaries make someone call you cold, remember warmth. Without walls becomes a wildfire. Pay attention to subtle drains, the joke that always costs you, the collaboration that always confuses you, the support that needs you smaller to survive. You are not suspicious. You are accountable for the climate you carry. Choose covenant over convenience, substance over spectacle. Bless from a distance when needed. Correct gently, disengage cleanly. Let your yes be relational, not gullible. Your no be kind, not apologetic. Real companionship doesn't compete with your calling. It calibrates it and returns you to yourself. Set apart is not abandoned. There's a loneliness that isn't emptiness, it's enclosure. Like a seed in the dark, you were covered, not canceled. The culture confuses visibility with value. Heaven doesn't. Being set apart is protective custody for your becoming. When the crowd's volume kept drowning your inner witness, you were pulled to the quiet so you could hear again. Honor that season. Don't rush back into noise to prove you're fine. Urgency is a counterfeit halo. It glows, but it doesn't guide. True guidance brings oxygen. If a path demands you sprint past your peace, it's not yours. Practice sacred slowness. Walk at the pace of your breath, not the pace of someone else's panic. Let people misread you. You were not given to them for approval, but for blessing. And blessings often begin in secret. In solitude, your motives get laundered, your affections sorted, your strength recollected. You learn to take up the precise space assigned to you. No shrinking, no swelling. When it's time to re-enter, you'll do it with a rooted yes, not a restless one. The world will call it a comeback. You will know it as continuity, the next faithful step of a life guarded on purpose. The wisdom of waiting for the green light. Waiting is not a talent, it's a technology. It aligns moving parts you cannot see. You are not idle at the red light, you are gathering accuracy. In this pause, notice what ripens without pushing. A conversation that opens 2 layers deeper, a resource that appears without pleading, a strength that feels native instead of borrowed. Delay becomes expensive only when you fill it with drama, fill it with design instead. Set small, honest checkpoints. What confirms alignment? What would constitute a no? Refuse to be bullied by deadlines that did not come from God or good sense. Remember the difference between momentum and stampede. One builds, the other breaks. When the green arrives, it will not require you to contort. You will recognize it by 3 signatures: peace in your chest, clarity in your next step, and provision sized for purpose. Then act decisively. Stewardship honors timing by meeting it. You are not missing out, you're matching up. When the signal changes, you won't lunge, you'll flow, because the interior path is already paved. That is the genius of patience. It turns movement into music and keeps you from paying interest on a future that was about to arrive anyway. Deeper knowing that clears the fog. There is an understanding that does not argue with you, it arranges you. It doesn't arrive as fireworks. It comes like a sunrise, quiet, cumulative, undeniable. You begin to see why the detours were doors, why certain goodbyes save you from slow erosion, why some prayers were answered by silence so your roots could deepen. Head knowledge collects data. Holy understanding connects dots. It asks, what truth is this experience revealing about me and about the way I'm led? Then it turns revelation into rhythm, new boundaries, truer language, cleaner appetites. You stop forcing closure and start practicing clarity. You stop demanding signs and start honoring signatures, peace, integrity, congruence. The fog doesn't need to be fought, it needs light. So you light the inner room, write what you know is true, forgive what cannot pay you back, return what isn't yours to carry. Over time, complexity simplifies. What used to take pages now takes a sentence. What used to take a storm now takes a breath. This is maturity, not the absence of questions, but the ability to hold them without hemorrhaging your purpose. You are learning to move by knowing, not by needing noise to confirm it. The interior shift that changes the landscape. Transformation rarely starts on the calendar, it starts in the core. Your heart recalibrates, your loyalties purify, your motives sober. Then the outer life follows as if it got the memo late. This is why striving loses power. Once alignment takes root, doors open without begging, conversations land without performance, work gathers weight without theatrics. Ask yourself, what would change if my choices were made from wholeness rather than hunger? When identity steadies, you stop bartering yourself for belonging. Purpose becomes a person you live as, not a place you hope to reach. And when the season of reception arrives, the right roles, the right relationships, the right responsibilities, you won't need to shout credentials. Fruit will testify. Others will name what you quietly became. Clear, kind, substantial. Do not fear the visibility that follows integrity. Fear the visibility that precedes it. Let your soul set the speed limit. Keep private practices that no platform can counterfeit. Prayer, reading, real rest, honest friendship, generous service. The gift of the interior shift is permanence. What is formed in the deep does not evaporate in the heat. It holds, and because it holds, you can hold others without dropping yourself. Not delay design. You have been tempted to call the timeline slow. It wasn't. It was surgical. Early arrival would have made blessings feel like burdens. Timing is how love becomes architecture. Consider how many moving pieces had to intersect so that what's next could fit. Skill with opportunity, conviction with community, capacity with call. That choreography required a measured beat. Trust it. Faith without proof isn't naivety. It's oxygen for what has not yet surfaced. Practice this reframing. I am not waiting on life. Life is arranging itself around what I have become. When you think you're stuck, notice what is actually settling. Priorities, partnerships, pace. The right things are finding their shelves. Disdain for slowness breeds shortcuts. Respect for sequence breeds strength. Refused premature harvests. Green fruit is impressive on camera and disappointing on the tongue. Let the tree have its season. And when the moment comes, you'll discover that progress without panic is possible. Your calendar will get busier, and your soul won't get noisier. That's the mark of design over delay. You move forward with a rested spine, a precise yes, and enough room in your chest to keep breathing. Stand firm, move quietly, see clearly. Authority doesn't always look like volume. Often it looks like a steady gaze and a measured sentence. This is the hour to plant your feet and unclench your fists. You don't need to argue your way into what's already yours. You need to live your way into it. Speak plainly, decide cleanly, walk kindly. When hidden motives surface around you, as they will, let light do its work without you becoming a spotlight. Exposure is not your job. Integrity is. Keep your practices close and your posture low. The strength you carry is not brittle. It's flexible, able to bend without breaking, to hold without harassing. Move like a river, quiet enough to soothe, strong enough to carve. If fear barks, let peace answer the door. If flattery knocks, let discernment ask for ID. You are not performing for a jury. You are partnering with a judge who also happens to be a father. When he says, go, you'll find yourself already moving because your yes has been rehearsed in private. And as you go, you'll notice this odd mercy. The path grows brighter beneath your steps, and what once hid in shadow steps forward and names itself for your safety, for your stewardship, for your song.